Chapter 1 review. In Chapter 1, one of our main focuses was simplifying expressions. To review, when we simplify expressions, we need to follow our order of operations. Parentheses first, then exponents, multiplication and division. But if you have multiplication and division in a problem, you need to do whichever comes first or on the left in that problem. Same with addition and subtraction. If subtraction is on the left and addition is on the right in a problem, you have to do the subtraction first. So, example number 1. I don't see any parentheses, I don't see any exponents, I don't see any multiplication and division, but I do see addition and subtraction. We work top down within our order of operations. So I am actually at the bottom. I need to do addition and subtraction first, and I need to do whichever comes first in the problem. In this problem, the subtraction comes first, so I have to subtract first. 8 minus 4 is 4. And then I add 2. So the correct answer is 6. A common mistake is to accidentally add 4 plus 2, which is 6, and 8 minus 6 is 2. That is wrong. That is not a correct answer. Now, example number 2, we still need to follow these order of operations. Simplify x minus 2 in parentheses squared when x is negative 5 and y is negative 2. Now we need to substitute negative 5 in place of x. So negative 5 goes in place of the x. Negative 2 goes in place of the y. We still drop down the rest of the symbols, the parentheses, the squaring, and the minus sign in the middle. So now I try to simplify this expression. I see there's parentheses, so I'm going to do what's in the parentheses first. I see negative 5 minus negative 2. When I see subtraction, I like to add the opposite. I add the opposite of that second value. So I really have negative 5 plus positive 2, which is negative 3. Now I'm squaring negative 3. That means, what does that mean? In my thought bubble, that means you take that value, this negative 3, and times it or multiply it by itself twice. So we're saying negative 3 times negative 3. That's a positive 9. A negative times a negative is a positive. Let me scroll up a little bit so we still have our order of operations. It looks like number 3. We're going to evaluate this expression when x is 2. So again, substitute 2 in place of x. So it was negative 3 times x. Now it's negative 3 times 2. And I'm dropping down the other symbols. And then don't forget this plus x. That's kind of tricky. A lot of people focus on, oh, there's a lot of stuff going on right here, and we forget about the plus x. Well, now substitute 2 in for that x as well. Anywhere you see an x, in this case, 2 goes in for it. So start in the parentheses. By the way, in this parentheses, there's nothing to do. It just says 2. But if we look at these outer parentheses, inside of these outer parentheses, it says negative 3 times 2, which is negative 6. All right, so I've done the parentheses. Now I do any exponents, and negative 6 to the third power is an exponent. I have to do that next before I add. So this means negative 6 to the third means negative 6 times negative 6 times negative 6. That's kind of a mean one. I believe that's negative 216, yeah. Now negative times a negative times a negative, if you have an odd number of negatives, it's a negative product. So negative 216 plus 2. So the last operation to do finally is our addition, negative 214. On these, you can use a calculator, but I expect that you show your steps, that you know and can demonstrate to me that you know the order of operations. Lastly, number 4, we're simplifying this large expression. Now, while this is the sticky point, where while division is down here, and there's stuff above it and stuff below it, when you have a fraction bar, which means dividing the top and the bottom is going to be the last step that you do. In other words, I'm going to simplify the top. Just figure out what one value that top simplifies to. And I'm going to figure out what one value the bottom simplifies to. And once I get those respective values, I'm going to take the top divided by the bottom. So on the top, I have 2 plus 4 times 3. So I see addition and I see multiplication. I need to multiply before I add. So 4 times 3 is 12. So I really have 2 plus 12, and that equals 14. On the bottom, I have subtraction and then addition. Those are the bottom two operations here. And again, I need to do whatever comes first between addition and subtraction in this problem. In this problem, I have subtraction first, so I will subtract, and then moving left to right, then I will add the difference. So 5 minus 2 is 3. And then I tack on the 1, which equals 4. So my fraction is 14 divided by 4. 14 divided by 4. So that is kind of like the answer. However, the greatest common factor of both of these numbers is 2. In other words, 2 goes into 14 and 2 goes into 4. So the better answer is, well, 14 divided by 4 is equal to 7 divided by 2. Now some of you will go to your calculator and call it 3.5. That's also equivalent. Let's look. So the intention in here is that the ones that are boxed in your review, I'll do with you. And the ones that are outside of the box, you can do on your own. I'll likely come back and do some of these with you, especially below this. Hopefully you still have your notes page. Just a sec, I'm reading a distance away and it's hard to read that. Looks like page 6 in your notes. It might be one before that or one after that, but right on or right around page 6, there's some words that actually mean math operations, and you'll need to know those. You'll want to memorize those for your final. So here we are just translating the phrase 4 less. Let me read that differently. 4 less than twice a number. So why it's helpful to have that list on page 6 is less than means subtracting, and twice means specifically times 2. So translate the phrase 4 less than twice a number. And you'll realize, hopefully on page 6, you've written down that less than is a tricky subtraction word because we need to switch the order. We need to switch the two things. Like if I say, what is 5 less than 12? Or say I have $5 less than you, and you have $12. How much do I have? It's 7. It really is 12. To get that 7, you take 12 minus 5. Not 5 minus 12, because that gets you negative 7. So I'm taking I am not taking 4 minus this stuff. I'm taking this stuff minus 4. So I'm actually going to put the minus 4 at the end. And then, so now I need to translate twice a number. I'm going to call the number n. You can use any variable you want, but I have twice that, or 2 of them. Twice means 2 times that value, and that value we actually don't know. So I have twice some number. It's a magic number. We don't know it right now. Well, when I get that, I will multiply it by 2, which is what 2n means. And then I actually have 4 less than that actual value. So I have to subtract 4. Let's try it again. 6 more. So that means adding. So I have 6 more than a number, and that's greater than, is greater than. When we see the phrases is greater than, it's an inequality. Inequalities, remember, are these symbols. Oops, I was about to do the same one again. There we go. It's one of those 4 inequalities. Greater than means whatever coming first, 6 more than a number, is greater than, that thing is the bigger value. So 6 more than a number is bigger than 12. So 6 more than a number. So that's going to be a number plus 6. That's technically the right translation to that. You could do 6 plus n, since addition, the order that you add things, doesn't matter, whereas the order of subtraction does matter. One n gives you a negative value, one gives you a positive value, and that matters. N plus 6 is greater than 12. Cool beans. And now we're actually, right, we just started solving these types of things. So this is, you're done right here, but technically you could think of all the numbers that you can plug in for n that makes this left side greater than 12. So n could be 6, it could be 7, it could be 8, it could be 9, so on and so forth. That is the end of the ones that are in the box. Because the vocab is a little bit tougher, hopefully you still have page 6, but if you don't, remember product means multiply. The product of 4 and a number. Remember, is means equals. Quotient means divided. Is less than is different than less than. Is less than is going to be the inequality. Translate here, 10 is greater than, so is greater than. If there's the word is, it means it's one of the inequality. If it's missing the word is, if it just says greater than, it actually means plus. Similar to how is less than is a less than symbol, whereas less than without the word is means minus. Let's keep on looking at this. Difference means subtracting. If you take the difference of my age and your age, you're probably thinking I'm going to take Mr. B's 34 right now, I think. Take 34 minus whatever my age. That's the difference. That's how you get the difference of our ages. 12 less than. Again, that's subtracting, but you have to switch the order of your subtraction. So 12 is actually going to be the second thing. A number is going to be the first thing, or n, your variable, because we don't know what the number is. So it's just like n minus 12 there. And then we have is less than. So that's your old less than symbol. Is less than. It's your inequality. Any toughies down here? 12 divided by a number is less than. Go up at what we just talked about and see if is less than is going to be inequality or a minus sign. A number added to, well, it's just adding. So we're adding a number to 7, and that is greater than or equal to 300. It's got the word is, so that means something. Let's see here. I'm going to go back to the other section because I think I have a little more time. See if there was anything tricky on these. Make sure you follow your PEMDAs. And then, yeah, I think that looks okay. Make sure, like here, you know, on number 3, you have to actually, or on number 2, you have to do some substitution. So when we substitute in -3 in place of x, technically you should put parentheses around that -3. Here's why. So otherwise, you have, if you just wrote down -2 and then -3, it looks like we're taking -2 minus 3. Remember, if there's something right next to parentheses without an operation, this now means, which is correct, -2 times -3. Up here, this is -2 times x. Use those parentheses, it'll help you with the rest of the process. I think we'll be all right.